Hello, hello. Hello, hello.
Okay, I'm live on Facebook, y'all. So I had an important message to share. With you. Bear with me for a moment. So I want to make sure you can hear me. Please, a moment. Test. So I want to make sure you can hear me. Please, a moment. Test. So I want to make sure you can hear me. Welcome. Okay, so conscious coworkers. I want to define that for you for a moment. When I first created the name conscious co-working and came up with it, I was thinking about a combination of people working together to make the world a better place, because we are the new waymakers of the new earth. And we are creating new jobs, we're creating new systems, we're creating new everything. And it's us soulpreneurs that are operating from that space of mission that are making a ton of change. We're not the only ones, of course, but there's others. So I literally got up out of the middle of trying to take a nap because I had this conversation with Robert earlier, and then it led to a download that I really want to share with everybody. So when we are in career or our unconscious way of being, our comfort zone, it looks a little bit like this. What I noticed about myself is that, little backstory, I was a paralegal for over 10 years. I had my own private investigation agency for over 5 years, and I got the call to step onto a higher path. This is a short story, short version of the story. And since I didn't listen right away, my life got really complicated and ended up resulting in a lot of traumatic experiences, memory loss, overwhelm, stress, feeling lost, all kinds of stuff. So what I noticed when I decided to step onto the path of a soulpreneur is that we are conditioned to stay, not necessarily on the outside of our comfort zone, but we're conditioned to stay on the things we know and the things that we've been doing. For example, for me, this is to some extent logical processes are easy for me to create. This might show it backwards for you. So anyways, logical processes are easy for me to create. It's easy for me to create systems. That's what I did in my work. It's easy for me to follow them. It's also easy for me to, let me think some other things. Technology is not the hardest thing in the world for me. It was at some point, trust me, after you lose your memory and you're trying to get your skills back, there's some relearning. But ultimately, I was on this cycle of purpose and mission that was not shallow, but it went around the outside of my comfort zone like this. And what happened, so Robert and I have multiple businesses, conscious co-working is one, but in one of our businesses, what I found is that I would circle around this track and I would give up when I couldn't make a difference. I felt like my energy was being wasted. I couldn't figure out how to do it, because I was operating on the outside rim of my career knowledge, what I had learned in the workspace up until that point. And so what I realized is that I'm going to stay on this cycle and continue to give up unless I do something different. What I also realized after being on this cycle for a few years, there's nothing else out here for me. Like there's nothing else. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that I grew in the ways that I am going to grow staying on a surface level. So what I found is that, let's just make a little inlet here. This is the door right here to the inside. This marker doesn't work. So what I found, this, Robert and I were talking about this earlier. He said, what would you call this space? And I said, I would call it depth. I said, I would call it reconnecting to people on a deep level, because I was terrified of people at some time in my life after having a traumatic situation. So I had to reconnect with people. I'm learning how to do that. One of our businesses that is my challenge is on this list. So this is the internal stuff that I struggle with. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because what we do is we fly on the tail feathers of this easy stuff. This is the stuff we know. This is our unconsciousness. This is our subconscious, what we're doing on an unconscious level, but it's also the stuff that we know. So it feels good, right? It's like, yeah, I know what I'm doing here. This is something that I feel needed here. I feel wanted here. I feel like I'm making a difference here because I know how to do it, but it doesn't mean we are. So what I've done on my little inner circle here, and I recommend that you do this exercise for yourself. What are you scared of? That was one of Robert's words that he said, maybe scared, the unknown, hold on a second. I think an alarm's going off upstairs, like a timer. Yeah, hold on. I'll be right back. Alexa, off.
30-minute timer. Stopped on show upstairs.
Alexa, timer on. Okay, so I was literally trying to take a nap when this came to me that I absolutely needed to share it. So on my list of the inner circle that I call it is all the crap that's hard for you. It's the struggle that you have. It's the things that you avoid, the things that you feel like giving up on. That's what's in this inner circle. So for me, it was a struggle for me to become a coach. Not because I didn't know how to help people. Maybe I didn't know what to help people with. I had a long list, right? That was a struggle for me. Reconnecting with people on a really deep level was a struggle for me. So in your circle, write down what you have troubles with. Like maybe it's business, maybe it's learning technology, maybe it's specific programs. It doesn't matter, but like I'll put business number 1 here just because that's one of the businesses I struggled with. I put connection with people, like deep connection with people. Like I was really good at that when I was younger, but for some reason that got harder for me. I already explained that a little bit. So anyways, you are going to continue to operate on this 3D level of the old way of Earth unless you keep this door open right here. And all the stuff that's hard for you, you work to confront it, face it, challenge it, and prove that it actually doesn't have any power over you. The reason that this is really important is because this is a bird's eye view of the cycle that we tend to try to get on for comfort. So I'll call this like the comfort cycle. Okay, this outer rim is the comfort cycle. As soulpreneurs, this is what it looks like from the side level. For most people, actually, but especially those of us that are coaching, healing, working with other people, the new way makers of the new earth, you know who you are. So this is what it looks like from the side. So I see a lot of people leaving their careers and moving into business, and they are continuing to find comfort in this outer rim. That's okay. Trust me. You will dip around and dip in and out and around multiple times. But just know that if you stay here, eventually you'll notice there's nothing else out here for me. There is nothing else out here for me. I actually, this is just an example and it's not like set in stone or anything, but I'm pretty good at technology. I'm pretty good at following processes and I'm pretty good at teaching people how to do that. That's a logical thing though. I have a lot of people in my life trying to push me to teach that and make money off of it. I'm not saying I won't, but I'm saying if there's a need for it, yes. However, it constantly pushes me out onto the outer rim of what I already know. It doesn't mean that I can't utilize the skill in the future, but I'm noticing that I get really frustrated and annoyed when people push me back onto the outside because I've struggled so long with automatically popping back onto the outside cycle that my goal now is to go in and go deeper. Again, so Robert used the words earlier. He said, what can I call this? We called it uncertainty, this depth, right? There's no uncertainty in what you know. We called this fear, we called this the unknown, and we called this scary. So this is important because there's a few people in there. If you have questions, hello, you can go ahead and type them in the comments. I will see them eventually. So this is important because down here, the deeper you go, this right here at the bottom is actually success. This is success. However, what you define success as is totally up to you. I've had people say, we measure success in dollars and cents. I measure success in whether or not I have a really good relationship with my kids. I measure success in the impact that I'm making on the world. So whatever way that you measure success, first of all, that can change. First of all, you will learn as you go what success really means to you. Honestly, if I had $1 million and I was totally unhappy, I would not be successful. So I don't measure success in money. The way I measure success is the impact that I'm making on the world, the peace that I'm able to hold within me, the way I'm able to show up in the world. And if life is taking care of me, life is never not taking care of me. So that's a different topic. So anyways, how you measure success is going to change, but just know that whatever your soul is reaching for, there is a level, this cone of depth that you're going to experience that is going to take you there. So what's in this? What's in this? All the stuff you're scared of, all the stuff you get frustrated about, all the stuff that is not on the outer rim of the circle that you know how to do already. This right here is life experience. This is, as a soulpreneur, what you're learning to do. So I know a coach who is really good at staying on the outside circle. They're always directing people here where we can only, we need to grow deeper into our souls and into humanity. I'm not saying this coach is good or bad, but what I'm saying is they are experts at pulling people up to their circle and up to the surface. If that works for you, great. But what I know as a coach and as a soulpreneur, as an entrepreneur, as a developing human soul in the spirit of Laura, is that I can only meet people as far down as I've met myself. So if I've met myself right here, I can meet people there. So can you. If you have met people here, you are qualified to help everybody above you because you won't be able to help anybody else below you. We can only meet other people as deep as we've met ourselves. So the deeper you go into this unknown, into this emotional framework that we are, into your human psyche, into your unconsciousness, into what the definition of success is for you, the more challenges you overcome, you grow in this way. I call this the well of your human essence as well. So identify what you're really good at identify what this surface cycle of the things you've mastered is, what your comfort zone is, identify what you kind of bounce out of. We will come in, do a little work in the unknown, and bounce back out. That's totally normal as a human being, because we can't spend too much time in either. I know this because I've worked with so many soulpreneurs, and they're saying, I'm so frustrated, I'm on the outside, how do I get back on the inside? Because they'll dabble in here and they'll want to give up, so they'll go back onto the outside. Well, I'm good at leading people, but I don't know how to do this, so they'll go back onto the inside and work here. It's literally a dance between what you know and what you can do, and embracing the unknown and learning what's there too. So I really felt a calling to share this because, again, as coaches, as teachers, we need to be pulling people and directing them into this vast unknown and falling in love with the unknown and allowing them to explore the unknown and to use these obstacles as a guide, because the obstacle is the way. I think there's a book called that. I haven't read it, but in my life experience, it's been 100% correct that everything that has challenged me has been the way for me to go. So as you are noticing your challenges, that's an indication of your path. So another thing that I noticed that happens is that if you have tried something before, let's use myself as an example. I tried to create systems for people that weren't necessarily ready for it because they didn't understand systems. I didn't know that. They didn't understand processes very well, and I didn't know that. So I'm going to use a different color here. So I created a system right here, something that I can do. And when they didn't respond to it very well, I bounced back out and got back on my cycle of what is easy, what is known. And what happened is I was very hesitant to try this again. I was like, I don't want to do that again. That's like the definition of insanity, right? Is to try the same thing over and over again. But as a coach and a teacher, I also know that the definition of that is if one way doesn't work, try another way to teach it. So when I popped up into this same process and procedure area, instead of bouncing back out, I stayed in there longer, and I had to work through the energy of like it could be like a trauma. Like I've known people who have business trauma or like paperwork trauma. Like, I don't want to deal with that again. How do I get through that? The only way through it is through it. And then once you get through it, you keep having these new experiences and profound breakthroughs of who you are and what you're reaching to ultimately as a soulpreneur and as a spirit having a human experience, as a soul having a human experience. So if there's resistance here when you're trying something and you're trying it a different way, you push through the resistance, you learn it's okay to go back onto the cycle of what you know. But ultimately, again, you'll notice eventually, you'll know this with your clients too. Eventually, there's nothing else up here for them on the surface level of the cycle of the comfort zone. Going more internal, going deeper is how you can help your clients grow if you're constantly pointing them in that direction with the right questions, the right cues, listening, helping them determine what they actually want, helping them determine what their actual real definition of success is, which of course can change and grow as you go, but giving them a starting point. So I think that's about all. I have this beautiful artwork that we've created to kind of try to explain this on paper. But ultimately, just know, I just want to reiterate, you can only meet people as deep as you've met themselves. So as a coach, as a teacher, as a healer, pointing them into the depth of themselves and pointing yourself into the depth of yourself, meeting your challenges, facing your challenges, overcoming this stuff, again, this is a well, this is the depth of your soul. Why wouldn't you want to explore this? In this unknown space, there's only more of you to be met. So fall in love with the unknown, fall in love with this, because all the surface stuff that the 3D world taught us, you already know that. It doesn't mean that I can't have a side business teaching people technology and systems because I know it so well, but it also doesn't mean that I can't take that and pull it into a really deep part of spiritual training and maybe not spiritual training, but spiritual teachings and teach them some of that I learned in the 3D world. You guys, we're not in a 3D world anymore. We're in on a new earth. It's holographic. So this was the 3D world. We just had the bird's eye view. Wake up, go to work, go to bed, wake up, go to work, go to bed, raise our kids, whatever was on here. Now you're noticing there's layers to this. There's a lot more depth to your existence now. And cause and effect works differently. Time can work differently. You're noticing that your experience of time may be a little bit different. People are more sensitive, and there's actually a lot of side effects that I've noticed that are going on, but that's another talk. So I hope that this helped you understand that whenever you feel uncomfortable, it's okay. You're going deeper. You're going deeper. It's a great thing. It's the way that you want to go. It's okay to be frustrated. But ultimately there's also a guidance. You have a guidance system. And I'm going to have to talk about this in another video or maybe in a course or in an article or something. But you have a guidance system that is leading you to this depth of yourself and to your ultimate success as a spirit having a human experience. You have guidance every day. It's something that that is always available to you. And a lot of it is the stuff that you avoid. Some of those cues, if you're avoiding something, if you're, again, like I said, if you're scared of something, if something's like, oh, I can't do that, I'm so uncomfortable, that is a guidance system because it's pulling you further into this. I actually kind of giggle at some of my clients who are like, oh my gosh, that's so scary for me. How do you do that? I've never done that. It's so scary. I don't know. But I giggle because once they get onto the other side of that, it's going to be like butter. Like I can see that before and after because all they have to do is do it. And then they'll have an experience. And we avoid things because we haven't done it right. So the only way is through it. The only way to do it is to do it. And you gain a lot of clarity, knowledge, and also create impact within yourself and other people while you're doing this. So to summarize, just as a coach, as a teacher, as a healer, remember our goal is to point people deeper within themselves, not so much to keep them on the outside surface level. There are some reasons that we might do that, but ultimately we want them to meet this deeper part of themselves because that's going to ultimately lead them to their success. So I hope this helps. I'll see you next time. Any comments? Go ahead, comment on the video and have a great weekend. Bye.